Good evening, everybody. This is The Fit, and I am Muftao Nabila Abdullahi. I am sitting in for your regular host, Angela Bamford. And tonight we are talking about the Black Stars head coach decision to sack some of his technical team members, notably his first assistant coach, that is Ibrahim Tanko, and his decision to also ask the technical coordinator of that team, that is Mr. Stephen Appiah, not to be part of his technical team any longer. This brings the number of people sacked by the head coach of that team, Mr. Kwesi Appiah, to 4. Prior to the 2019 African Cup of Nations, Mr. Kwesi Appiah took the decision to relieve Maxwell Konodo of his duty, and he also decided that Ismail Hamidou was not going to be a part of his backroom staff again. And after the AFCON, now he's asked that Ibrahim Tanko, who helped him to reach to the round of 16 stage of the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt, and also Stephen Appiah, he's written to the normalization committee saying that he doesn't want them to be part of his backroom staff again. Tonight, we want to find out what probably influenced Kwesi Appiah's decision to ask the normalization committee to take out Mr. Ibrahim Tanko and Steve Appiah from his technical team, and what are some of the decisions often taken by technical team members or head coaches when they want backroom staff for their to help them carry out their duties successfully. And in the studio to do the discussion with me is Taufik Abdulkadir Sieno, who is the editor of Football Made in Ghana. He's also a coach, but he's an amateur coach. But he has a lot of technical ability when it comes to coaching, and he understands the rudiments of coaching, and he will be helping us dissect some of the key reasons why this decision probably has been taken, and why coaches often go for some people to help them in their technical work. Taufik, welcome.
Thank you, Mufti.
We all had the stories yesterday, but what probably do you think could have influenced Kwesi Appiah's decision to say that he doesn't want to work with Tanko and Stephen Appiah again?
Well, first of all, we are yet to get a confirmation from the normalization committee that Kwesi Appiah has actually tabled that particular, request. And Mufti, it will be the most ridiculous and most outrageous, request to have been tabled by Kwesi Appiah, if indeed it happens that he has done it. And from my checks, he's put in the request, but the normalization committee are dragging their feet with regards to this particular decision. My information tells me that he put in the request a few weeks after we returned from the African Cup of Nations. He submitted his report, and even as of 2 days ago, he reminded them of the decision.
That was on Tuesday.
That is it. But I ask myself, have we as a country, Ghana, been bewitched or what? We go to an African Cup of Nations. For the first time in the history of Ghana, we exit. And since 2006, we exit at the round of 16. Everybody saw the performance of Ghana at the tournament. Way, way, way beyond what expectations. Very embarrassing. We come back from the tournament. The head coach is still there, and is making a request that his assistant coach should be sacked.
But you were in Egypt. What did you see that did not go wrong? Did his backroom staff help him that much?
Well, Mufti, when you are very close to some of these teams and national team coaches, most of the time, what you realize is that the backroom staff will put in all the inputs that they need to put, but it becomes the responsibility of the coach to either work with what the backroom staff have proposed or not. In Egypt, we saw a technical team very united. They trained together. At the hotels, you see them moving together. You see them one-on-one, Kwesi Appiah and then Tanko. Sometimes with Coach Didi Dramani, David Duncan, Celastete. you know, who went to scout for the coach,
Yeah.
all of them will meet and be discussing technical issues. At other times, they all meet, you know, what do you call it, the playing body,
yes,
and discuss strategies with them. So you could see that there was cohesion, there was unity amongst them, and everything was moving on. But at the end of the day, it sounds too, you know, abnormal and incredible for the coach to table such a request. When we returned from Egypt, there were a whole lot of calls that the coach must put his tools down and leave.
yes.
And if we are to go by what Dr. Kwesi Appiah, the president of the normalization committee of the FA, said before the tournament, he said that, and I quote, if we go to the tournament and we don't win, Kwesi Appiah is a goner. Yes. I still have that video with me.
Yes.
He said it. And he emphasized it on that particular show where he said that particular thing.
Yes.
We've returned from the tournament since July, August, September, 2 months forward. Kwesi Appiah is still staying.
And he's not firing people. But just before you continue, I'd like to understand some of the things that coaches consider when they are picking people for a backroom staff.
Intelligence, game reading abilities. Because what happens is that if you are a coach on the touchline, Mufti, if you happen to be on the touchline before, I remember I was there once, on numerous occasions, but on the bigger stage, yeah. I've been there only once, when I was behind my team, and we lost terribly to Prempeh College.
Okay.
At the Baba Yara Sports Stadium by 5-1. Abbas Issa, my 05, who now plays for, what do you call it?
Is it Mayoka?
No. In the Eredivisie. He's on loan there.
Okay.
He was playing for Prempeh at that time. Appiah Makati was the captain of the Prempeh team, Ashgold. And they really disciplined me. Under 15 minutes, we had considered 3 goals. And Mufti, when you are there, the kind of pressure that is on you, sometimes you may not be able to even read the game patiently as we do when we are not under that pressure. Yeah. So you need an assistant who is able to read the game very well, know the strengths and weaknesses of the opponent. Yes. Read your strengths and weaknesses, see how you can juxtapose the two, and then capitalize on the weaknesses of the opponent. You need this. You need a coach who is very intelligent. Sometimes these head coaches do not even write their reports. Yeah, they don't. It is the assistant coaches who have to write the report. So you need a coach who is well organized as well. Organizational skills, very important. When you go to trainings, most of the training regimes are, supervised by the assistant coach. So you need a coach who is all round, very organized, intelligent, game reading abilities, and has a very good, relationship with you, and you have to respect him.
So is Ibrahim Tanko that kind of a coach? That brilliant guy who sits behind, sees the game, understands it, reads it well, sends notes to his boss to do that. Is he that kind of a person? And did he fail to do that for Kwesi Appiah during the tournament?
He is that kind of a person. I can give you an example. Tanko has never lost a game in the second half. Never. You can watch his statistics. When he started playing these under-23 qualifiers, his first game against Togo, under-23 conceded first. Yes. It ended up Togo conceding 5 goals. It was 5-1.
5-1, yes.
Against, what do you call it? Gabon. Yes. Here we beat them 4-0. Over there, Gabon scored first. Ghana came to equalize.
Even with 10 men.
You understand?
Yes.
Against Algeria, Ghana conceded first. We equalized. We followed them all the way to Algeria, and we beat them in the second half. Yes. So, in terms of game reading abilities and intelligence, he's there. Okay. Now, when you look at training regimes and how he prepares his team at the training grounds, yes, we have seen that under even Kwesi Appiah, it has always been Tanko and Maxwell Kunedu who prepared the team at the training grounds. Yes. And when Maxwell Kunedu was eventually asked by Kwesi Appiah, yeah, it is Tanko who took over this. He warmed up the players, cones and everything. He will do that before the coach comes in with his instructions. So in terms of that organizational abilities to, you can count on him. So, pictorial demonstrations of
the qualities
Tanko,
of Tanko.
Of the qualities of Tanko.
So why would Kwesi Appiah, there's that community of people who say Kwesi Appiah probably is threatened by the presence of Ibrahim Tanko, or because he has qualified the team to the African Cup of Nations, under 20 African Cup of Nations, which is taking place in the next 2 months, that's November. Do you agree to this assertion that he's probably threatened by the presence of Kwesi Appiah, of Ibrahim Tanko, or is that he's taking the decision because during the time he will play in the qualifiers for the 2021 African Cup of Nations, Ibrahim Tanko will also be in action with the Black Meteors in Egypt?
Well, I think I would take the second option. With the first option,
yes.
I don't think that would be true, because it was Kwesi Appiah who appointed Tanko.
Yeah.
When he was being named as a Black Stars coach,
yeah.
Maxwell Kunedu was already there.
Yeah.
And information even indicates that Kwesi Appiah said he didn't want to work with Maxwell at that time.
Kunedu, yeah.
He wanted Tanko. So if he had felt threatened by Tanko's intelligence and organizational skills and everything, he wouldn't have, nominated him that appoint this particular person for me as my assistant.
Okay.
He might have seen the qualities in Tanko, hence, proposing him as an option for him to be his assistant.
Okay.
Now, what I see is that because of the tournament that Tanko is going to play, and then the collision or the coincidence that it will have with the activities of the Blasters, it makes a cogent point for the coach to make that decision. But I think that if the coach will make the decision by saying that I am asking Tanko without giving Ghanaians any reason to justify his decision, then he will force a lot of Ghanaians to read other meanings into his decision. Because one, when he decided to fire Maxwell Kunedu, no decision was given to any Ghanaian.
Yes.
We were hugely disrespected by that. He didn't tell anybody why he took that decision. Forgetting about the fact that it is our taxpayers' money, our taxes, because I pay taxes at the end of every month.
Your taxes didn't hire him. Some people hired him, and those people will take the decision as to whether, because your taxes are used to pay him, they should fire him or keep him.
I understand.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, those people are managing my taxes.
Yes.
And they have decided to use some of my taxes to pay the coach. The coach decided to take a decision without explaining to us why he took that decision.
Does he owe his employers explanation or Ghanaians?
We are his employers. Even those who appointed him, we employ them.
No.
We do.
No, you didn't.
We did.
You're not a person who employed Kwesi Nyantakyi to hire Kwesi Appiah to come and manage the national team.
I am not
Let's
talking.
not forget,
please, I am not talking in relation with Kwesi Nyantakyi, who appointed him managing a private entity.
Because he was.
But I'm talking about the paying agency. We are here, and after the, interviews and everything that the coaches went through, it is the Ministry of Youth and Sports that will pay the coaches, so they determine who you should hire.
The Ministry of Youth and Sport don't determine who you should hire. You hire and tell the Ministry of Youth and Sport.
Mufti.
Tawfiq is my coach. Tawfiq is my coach. We've agreed you should pay him ABC.
I agree.
Is it the Ministry of Youth and Sport who will tell you hire this person or that person?
I know the angle that you are coming from.
Yes.
But you don't expect me to sit here and tell you that certain decisions are taken right from the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And even sometimes it goes beyond that. Okay,
unless, of course, you want us to go to the political angle. But we need to go for a break and come back and talk about the reports emerging that former Kumasi Asante Kotoko head coach, Mr. C.K. Akuno, he's a very good friend of Tawfiq here. He will be telling us into details the kind of person C.K. Akuno is and the kind of support he can offer to Kwesi Appiah. We'll go for a break. When we come back, we'll do more discussion on why Kwesi Appiah has decided that 4 people should go. They are a mistake, but he is not a mistake. We'll be back in a jiffy. Welcome back from the break. This is still the feed, and tonight we're talking about Kwesi Appiah's decision to sack 2 of his technical team members, bringing the number to 4. Prior to the AFCON 2019, he asked Mr. Maxwell Konedu and Ismail Hamidou, and then now he wants Ibrahim Tanko and Stephen Appiah out. But reports are also emerging that former Kumasi Asante Kotoko head coach CK Akuno is a likely replacement for Ibrahim Tanko as the assistant coach of the Black Stars. My guest in the studio tonight is Taufik Abdulkadir Sieno, who is the editor of Football Made in Ghana. But before I get to him, let me read some comments that came through from Facebook and on Twitter. This one from Yao Ansa Asare. He says that, have they not terminated his contract after the AFCON? He's asking a question. No. We are yet to be officially told whether Kwesi Appiah's contract has been terminated or not. And this one came from Nenebi Kwame. He says, but he can't do the job. Well, and then John Hobson, he says that Kwesi Appiah himself needs to be sacked as soon as possible. And then this one from Abdallah Jamila, she says, you've made me lose appetite. Who is sacking who? And then this one from Blazing Ajiman, he's saying that Prince Owusu is always the de facto assistant coach of the Black Star anytime Stephen Appiah is in charge. And this one from Samuel Ni Okan Ama, he says, can you imagine you serve the job no fit you, that you sack others? And then this one from Pebu Emmanuel Scholastic, he says that, I think we are not serious as a nation at all. Kwesi Appiah is still our coach. Why is he the only Ghanaian? It is clear he is not good enough for the Black Stars and can't win anything for us. Simple. He should be fired, period. And this one from Aliu Sly Ibrahim, he says he's not afraid of Tanko. He's afraid of the knowledge of Tanko in football. That's some of the conspiracy theories being thrown out there. But let me come to Taufik and let's talk about the likely replacement, CK Akuno. Is he the perfect gentleman?
CK is a fine coach. He is, a coach who is carved in the niche of the Tankos. He is also a very good game reader. He's exuberant. He's knowledgeable. He's intelligent, German trained. Played in the German Bundesliga, rose to the level of captain in Wolfsburg as a first black, skipper of the side. So in terms of achievement and in terms of coaching, he's done it with Dreams FC. We saw it. He's done it with Ashgood. Yeah. When we felt that task was even
they were going to be relegated.
Yeah, too hard for him to accept. He accepted the challenge, and at the end of the day, he was amazing with the side. Yeah. He came to Asante Kotoko. He did a marvelous job, and then, shockingly, we don't know where that decision came from. They decided to change him for Jetel Zachariasen. So
no, he was promoted, but he rejected the promotion.
But it was a strategy of relieving him of
constructive dismissal.
It wasn't part of his contract. The contract that was offered him for the 3 years, there was nothing in the contract that at a point we can choose to elevate you to a technical director position. As we are talking right now. What do you call it? Julian Nagelsmann in Germany happens to be the best German, German as in a German.
A native.
Yes, a native.
An indigenous.
The best German coach in Germany now. Apart from Joachim Low, who's handling the national team. At the club level, he is the one. You propose him to the national team and they tell you he's very young. He's 34 years now. And they think that he needs a lot of time. There is somebody who is very close to Leipzig that I spoke to, and he told me that, look, that proposal has come. But Nagelsmann says he always wants to be on the bench. He doesn't want to go and sit home and wait for 2 months before he comes. Yeah. He's very young. He has energy. Yeah. And that is the CK I see. So if you have such a coach, very young, has energy, a lot of ideas, you want to take him to a technical directorship position and take him off the bench, he wouldn't accept it. So straight away, it was a strategy of getting him off there. And in my opinion, he's a very fine coach. He can even be the Black Stars coach itself, not to talk of an assistant. Okay. And so if Kwesi Appiah is deciding to, make him an assistant after calling for the sack of Tanko, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a very good choice. But in my opinion, if I'm to advise CK, I'll tell you not to accept the offer.
Why?
I'll say that it's a plot to kill his ambition of becoming the Black Stars coach.
Why? How?
CK, from now, locally, if you have to assess the chances and qualities of coaches who can rise to the top to become the Black Stars coaches, apart from Ibrahim Tanko, CK is the next person. I'm saying Ibrahim Tanko first because of
he's very close to the team at the moment.
Being the assistant coach of the team, and again being the head coach of the national under-23, which is probably next to the Black Stars. Yeah. That is why I'm saying this particular thing. And CK is the next. So if today, Kwesi Appiah with all the bashing coming from the media, with the challenges or the embarrassment that Ghana, felt in Egypt, is appointing CK to assist him after asking 4 other technical men from the team, asking CK to come and assist him. Where lies the future of CK Akono? Already, there are conspiracy theories that you said are pointing to the fact that
he is threatened
by the intelligence and the presence of Ibrahim Tanko. Wouldn't he be threatened by the intelligence and the exuberance and the smartness of CK Akono?
But there are people who say that as a technical team member, you need someone who has probably been a leader before to understand the kind of leadership you are looking for. And we know Kwesi Appiah was a leader. We know CK Akono was a leader. So when you have 2 leaders, 2 legends of the national team combined for the national team, it works perfectly. I have
a very, 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 very good relationship with CK Akono.
I have a very good relationship with Kwesi Appiah.
Even, I don't know, but I think that I am even more close to CK than how a lot of people think. But I'm saying this.
And that I know.
In terms of captains who had influence on the Black Stars, CK does not come near Stephen Appiah.
Yes. Agreed.
It's a statement of fact.
Agreed.
But why is he asking Stephen Appiah? If it is based on somebody who has been a leader before and has the qualities to lead in the team.
Or have made impact on the national team.
But what about Stephen Appiah?
There were some interesting allegations thrown in the air. That probably, we have, you and I have all spoken to people, but you don't have permission to put out what they said. But some of the allegations that they were backbiting him, they were saying, they were making certain comments about him, and that even to the extent that Tanko went and met the minister and told the minister that he should take out Kwesi Appiah and make him the head coach because Kwesi Appiah cannot handle the senior national team and all that. Would you still want to work with such a person if you have been given some information about some of the things the person is allegedly doing?
So if this thing proves to be true, then it means that he's not asking Ibrahim Tanko and Appiah because of the clash of assignments between under 23 and then the national team. It's a fact we need to establish. Now, the Ibrahim Tanko that I know, I wouldn't defend the fact that whether he went to the minister or he did not go to the minister. But the Ibrahim Tanko that I know, hardly will he go to the minister and tell him, take the job and give it to me.
But I think the best way to clarify all this would be for the ministry to release a statement, if, in fact, that did not happen.
Mufti, I told you from the start that it is Kwesi Appiah who said he needed to work with Tanko.
Yes.
So Tanko should be appointed.
Yes.
And when Tanko came on board, we saw the quality that he had to offer.
Yes.
In Egypt, Tanko was part of the technical team. Kwesi Appiah was the head.
Yes.
And we saw how Ghana were shamed there.
Embarrassed
before we came home.
Yes.
Kwesi Appiah was behind the lines when Kenya came here and we struggled to beat them by 1 goal.
1 goal to 0.
Kwesi Appiah has been with the team not today. So if we are talking about quality, we have seen the kind of job that he is doing. you understand me?
Yes, if I just wrap up the conversation.
It is not an issue of Tanko going to tell somebody that I am better than Kwesi Appiah and for that matter give the job to me. We drew with Algeria here, 1-1 in the 20 qualifiers. Everybody in Ghana lost hope apart from a few of us that we cannot do it. Ghana traveled there and after beating Algeria at their own backyard to qualify, everybody was like, wow, Tanko is an exceptional coach. You understand?
Yes.
So we have seen performance of coaches all around. Just like I told you about that of C.K. Akono. When he was coming to Ashgold, everybody was like, Ode, why did you take this job? But he said, it's a challenge, I need to take it and prove to the world that I can do it. He did it. We've seen Kwesi Appiah getting to 3 years with the national team. We've seen what he's doing. Okay. Do we need somebody else to tell us
he's not good?
A different definition of quality?
A pleasure speaking to Taufik Abdulkadir Sieno, who is the editor of Football Made in Ghana. This has been The Fit with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Thank you very much for your company.